Hey everyone, Stegar here and welcome back to Fairview. In today's episode we're going to be working on the tallest building in the city. It's not going to be very tall, only like 10 or 12 stories or something, as Fairview isn't really a big city like you'd expect from like some other creators like Piers and stuff. It's nowhere near anything like New Windsor or Columbia City or anything like that, but just a small city, and I feel like we needed to add in some taller buildings and stuff. Here anyway, I'm just placing down a large parking lot first and using that parking lot decal to kind of cover up where the other parking lots weren't showing up. And here I'm placing down what will be the tallest building in the city. It's just a vanilla building, as I wasn't really too bothered in downloading anything from the workshop, but I mean it works, and I do some color changes using the painter mod later in the episode to kind of make it look a bit better in a way, I guess, and make it more grey. And here I'm just placing down this gym building by Mr. Miyagi, just to kind of fill in the space, and using the painter mod there to try and like change the color and make it not look so unusual, because it was like a weird turquoise color to begin with. And here is another taller building. I think this one's like 7 or 8 stories or something, and just adding that there too to try and vary things up, and putting trees and planters out the front, as it kind of makes the city look better when you've got trees and planters all down the roads and stuff, because I feel like having concrete everywhere is quite boring after a while, even though I have done that in a lot of the city, but I go through and change a lot of that stuff in this episode. And with this building, I just ended up making it a dark grey colour in the end, after like tweaking through a whole lot of different colours and figuring out that basically anything colourful didn't really work. And this is like the third tall building that I placed in the city, and it's just kind of there to add some variety in a different part of the downtown, which is quite far away from this area that we're working on now. And here is just putting down some smaller buildings to kind of fill in the space and make it kind of seamlessly transition between what is the tallest building in the city and what is essentially the edge of the city, because there's a river there and the downtown can't exactly expand into the river itself, can it? And here I was just working on this like back lot of these buildings that I built like a really long time ago when I first started the series. I never really detailed around the back of here, and I thought this was a good opportunity to do so since we're working right next to it, and it was always my plan to come back and fix this up when we actually worked on the area that we're working on today. With this one, I convert it into procedural objects, as you'll see me doing now, and just kind of change the heights of some corners of it so that it slopes down and connects in with the bottom of the terrain. And here just like a little platform using the ploppable surfaces to kind of make it not look so weird, as you kind of get the weird terrain changes here and stuff. Now starting on the next part of this episode and just putting down some smaller buildings and shops, and using the ATM on the corner here, as you'll see me use in a second, as well as this vanilla shop. I don't really like how the back of the other building flips through it, but I'm just going to leave it, as I feel like it would be something you wouldn't really notice from a distance, which is probably where we'd be looking at the city most. Or I mean, if you're looking properly at street level, then you wouldn't notice it either, so it doesn't really matter too much. I guess I feel like a lot of people care way too much about how their city looks when they're flying around like 15 or 20 meters above the street level, which is not a normal place to be looking at a city from. You're either looking at it from the ground, or you're looking at it from like some hill far away, or from an aeroplane, and from an aeroplane it doesn't really matter that much because you're only seeing part of it. And here I was placing down another tall building and just putting a little parking lot beside it so that whoever works or lives here or whatever can actually have somewhere to park. And and using this building from the University City Content Creator Pack to create like a little cafe or fast food restaurant, and just placing tables around there and putting a few planters down too to add some space for trees in this otherwise kind of bare, boring concrete area, and just using a variety of trees. The trees I'm using in this series are mainly by either Mr. Mason or Padelmo. They have a good selection of fall trees between them both, so it's good to get a variety. And here I'm just switching over to a completely different area of the city and fixing up these piers. I didn't really like how they looked and hadn't really got around to changing them, so here I was just lowering them down a bit closer to the ocean, and also trying to fix all the weird little terrain glitches, as you'll see me do in a second. Or maybe I did it off camera. And now just putting down some boats and things around here, as I kind of felt that this area was a bit bare without any sort of detailing and things. I think these are by Bloody Penguin, or most of them are. I think there's one that I'm using now that's by GC Voss, and just using a variety of them to kind of make it not look so apparent that I only have a limited number of assets that I can pick from. Now we've moved over back to where we were building earlier, and here I'm placing down the parking lot roads. Just the small one for now, but I end up upgrading that to a wider one soon, and placing down some of these River Park Mall assets by Crystallisto. These are quite old assets, but they're still very good, regardless of how old they are, I guess. And you'll see me soon go through and remove all these parking lots, as I don't really like having them there, as there are now better ways to do parking lots, which include putting parking lots onto the parking lot roads. Here I was using the wrong one, thinking that it'd work okay, but it didn't, and caused all the cars to float and stuff, so I replaced this off camera with the parking lot spaces from the parking lot roads by Bad Idea, and here I was just moving them all slightly closer to the parking lot so that there wasn't much space. And here I was using the forest brush by TPV to create a whole lot of trees really quickly. I didn't end up saving my settings from some of the previous episodes where I'd used that, so I had to go through and reset all my forest brush settings. So there might be a different mix of trees than in other parts of the city where I've used it. Yeah, just placing out this Down and Out Burger. I think it's like a parody version of In and Out Burger, but I actually thought it was In and Out Burger until I realized when looking after building it that it wasn't, in fact, and was some sort of phony version of it. Here I'm just placing out some more shops and using the parking lot roads again here to create a big paved area, not really for the sake of parking lots, but more for the sake of just having an area where trucks could come in and drop off goods, or rubbish trucks could come through and pick up the rubbish from various buildings. And yeah, just placing down some dumpsters and stuff. Even though there are a few on the back of the buildings, I prefer to add a few more here just for extra detail, and some crates and things for the same reason, I guess. And also putting down some like stain decals here, as I haven't really used them much in Fairview, and I feel like they can add a bit more character to the ground texturing, as that otherwise looks quite boring. And here I'm just placing a whole lot of planters around the roadsides and things, and being kind of careful as to what trees I pick, because some are just too big that they don't really fit inside the planters, or they end up blocking off too much of the road. It kind of becomes awkward. And just adding in some larger trees in these gaps here And now I'm going to go through and just add a whole lot of trees through various different parts of the city, including along the edge of this road here near where we were building earlier in the episode, as well as this parking lot. And there's a whole lot of stuff that I didn't include in today's episode, as I felt like it. After watching this for a while, it got pretty repetitive, me placing trees and planters and stuff. So I was trying to keep a bit of variety with the trees I was using here, but the size of them determines what I can actually use here. And now I'm going to do some more trees and then redo the main park for like the third or fourth time before hopping in game and showing you around what we've built today. Okay, so now we're in game and you can see the main like 10 or 12 story building that we built today, as well as a whole lot of other stuff down here and the small. I'm not sure why all those trees are the same color. I'm pretty sure I like alternated them, but maybe it's just some updated thing or something, I don't really know. Oh well, I mean, yeah, we got this here. It stands out quite a bit if you look at it from here, but I mean, it's just the nature of being like right up close to a tall building. But from like down on the street, it's not as noticeable because you got all the other like storefronts and things blocking it. I do think the trees add like a lot more detail than just having blank stuff like you do in some of these other areas. Like, I don't know, maybe there's a good example. But yeah, I think that just looks a lot better, and you'll see the difference in like a before and after shot that just pans over the city as to what it used to look like versus what it looks like now. I mean, this just looks a lot more pleasant having a few trees around the place, as well as like a few bare ones to try and mix things up a bit. Yeah, I mean, leave a comment as to what you think of this one, whether it stands out too much and looks horrible or whether it's okay. We also have the Piers over here that I worked on in this area, which is quite different from the rest of the city because it's got a lot more modern buildings and an apartment building, but I mean, that was built a while ago, and we were just adding in these boats and the piers and kind of changing the heights of them because I didn't feel that they were quite right to start off with. But yeah, you know, if you like the changes here or you like the addition to the city over here, then leave a like on the video. It really helps out a ton. And yeah, here's our down and out burger, not our in and out burger. Kind of disappointing, but I mean, it's a decent building, so I'm not gonna make a big deal over like real brands versus like parodies of brands. But if you want to see more of my videos, then subscribe and ring the notification bell so that you get notified whenever I upload a video, which should be another one next week from Fairview, and then I'll probably switch back to doing some Hunterville videos for a while. But thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one, where we'll probably be working on something over here. Take care.